What's up, guys? Want to talk a little bit about this latest video clip that was dropped. It says Lombard Brothers gaming on NASCAR Heat 3. Um, I don't know what that means. I guess it's the actual Lombard brothers that are in the game. They were given permission to play the game. Uh, so I want to talk about that and a couple of other side stuff that have to do with the game. Um, First of all, the game, as I said before, everything that they said they were going to work on and improve actually does look improved, right? So there is room for improvement, of course, but everything is better than it was before. Uh, the game looks good. I will say this: this is all on PC, I believe. So I do think that we could expect maybe a slight downgrade when it comes, especially when it comes to frame rate. I do believe this is at 60 frames, and all the footage we've seen is pretty much off of the PC build, which is 60 frames, and it runs very smooth. You don't see pop-in or the aliasing issues that we've seen in all of these games. And I'm thinking, well, I'm concerned that we are going to kind of get some of that stuff when you play on the console. Um, you could almost guarantee it. So I don't want anybody to feel like, oh man, just get caught off guard. This is the PC version, and it is running at 60 frames. At least everything before this was. I don't, and this is at 704. So this is what they're showing you. It looks good. I've actually thought maybe get the game on PC instead this year. I don't know. I'm a console guy. Uh, I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with the console and see how that works out. If the game is really good and I feel like I want that extra, frame rate, and I want that just little bit extra texture quality, then I wouldn't mind going buying the PC version later on if I feel it's worth it. But I'm gonna stick with the console version, I think. So basically, what I noticed here is, and what I really did want to see is the AI difficulty. He put it at whoever was playing it put it at 105, um, and it looks as challenging as you could expect. This is not off the career mode, so it's not like, oh, he had a car that wasn't fully upgraded. This was straight off the single gameplay. So, he just jumped in a car, nationwide race, and or Xfinity, I should say, um, and he qualified. He qualified 21st, which is good because a lot of people were having a hard time qualifying. I never really qualified. I always like starting from the back, but it's good. He was able to qualify mid pack, which is fine. But the really exciting thing is that um, he started 21st and finished 17th. Yes, it was only 6 laps, but you did get to see a few things. One, the field did seem to spread out a bit more than last year. That's always been a concern of mine, that these cars are not spreading out enough. Now, I don't want to get overly carried away because it was just 6 laps. You're not really getting a really spread out view of everything. This is just a condensed 6 lap race, but what little we saw, I was excited about. The spotter does seem slightly improved. It does seem slightly more accurate. My only concern is the spotter's still not busy enough. Maybe they can give us an option down the line where you can have a chatty spotter or a spotter who doesn't talk as much, sort of like a slider. I really want a chattier spotter. I want it to be more realistic. These guys are constantly feeding you information, and especially for guys like myself who play strictly in cockpit mode, you want the most immersive experience possible. And you, when you play in first person or cockpit mode, you really do rely on the spotter that much more. So I would like to see them put more work into the spotter. But it does seem improved, and it does seem, from the limited clips we've had, not just this clip, but everything we've seen up to date, it does seem like they put some work into it. So another thing that was improved, but there's still room for improvement, obviously. So I'm really, the biggest thing I'm excited about is the AI difficulty. I don't think you can ask more for more than this. I'm used to seeing these guys just blow by the field, and this guy did seem to be driving as hard as he could. You can't just stay on the gas wide open, and that's the way it should be. Um, so it showed the type of competitiveness that I'm looking for. Now, we don't know. I would have liked to see a long run and see the AI pit strategy, which is really one of that, and the tire wear are a couple of things that we have yet to really see. Um, so I would like to see how the tire wear plays out, and more importantly, even the pit strategy. So Jeff Faviano did chime in to the last video I made, which I always appreciate when other YouTubers who have a bigger following, chime in, because it shows that the community is um, united for the most part. I think people should take a moment to like stop and smell the roses a little bit. We are sort of in a good time because it's very rare when you see developers listen to the community. That's a rare thing. I don't think people realize that. These guys are listening, they're communicating. Um, and when you take into account all the things we've all been asking for, you're not going to get everything you want right away, but they've been able to address a lot of things. Um, some people are concerned and maybe feel that I'm no longer concerned about stats. I just want to reiterate, that's not that's the furthest thing from the truth. I am very concerned about stats. The thing is, I already know that the stats haven't been addressed for this game, so I'm not surprised. I already knew this coming in, and I'm still concerned about it. That's not going to just go away. I'm going to stay on top of it. I'm going to continue to push forward for that. But this game is done. They're not going to fix that now. So I have to keep pushing for the next game, and things like not just stats, but a paint booth, right? Because customization, the lack of stats, those are things that I can see that are, sort of the things that I'm gonna criticize about this game, because the customization just really isn't there. Um, the uh, the lack of stats, I'm not forgetting about it. And like I said, take a moment just to say, hey, man, excuse me, these guys are listening to us. A developer who's communicating and really making big improvements. These aren't just small little improvements. These are pretty big improvements across the board. Um, so how often do you see that in the gaming community? Also, a community that's kind of sticks together. Whenever I've asked anybody to help push something that I want pushed, like an idea or a criticism, someone's always stepped up. If it wasn't somebody, another YouTuber from another channel doing it, it's been you guys going on Twitter. You guys have kept communicating with me and letting me know what's going on as well. So even though I'm not even known at all, really, it's as a YouTuber, but my message has still kind of reached 704 because of you guys, because of other YouTubers. And that's the power of maintaining a coherent message. This is something I've always talked about. I've always told you guys, you have to keep your criticism constructive, but you also have to have a coherent, unified message. So it's like not 1,000 different people with 1,000 different ideas, but 1,000 different people with the same group of ideas. Because that's why you have this camera that everybody's been screaming about, right? It's not really something I've been uh, uh, attentive about because I play in cockpit mode. That stuff does not affect me, but so many people ask for it and they put it in the game. So many people complained about the burnouts. They put it in the game. So now people have shifted to, oh, the track map. Oh, we don't have a track map. It's 2018. Okay, I get it. I'm frustrated like you guys, but we got to take it one step at a time. These guys are listening, and I knew we weren't going to get everything we wanted this year, you know. So let's continue pushing. Let's keep working together because it's working. Uh, let's focus, on get that track map in for next year, paint booth, and definitely a full compilation of stats. The way it used to be, year by year, broken down. There's so many stats that used to be part of these games. It should have your record for every track you've been at, so you know everything. So I want to see that come back, and I'm gonna keep pushing for it. And I think with your help and other, you know, YouTubers who have a bigger following that can communicate with 704 through Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, whatever, we got to keep pushing. Um, so we'll get that stuff. I'm confident. I really believe in these guys. Another thing is a lot of people for the past couple of years have been screaming, I hope EA comes back or some other big I'm sorry, another big developer to take over. Don't you realize that what we have right now is the best possible scenario? You got a smaller developer, but this is all they work on. This is the only game that they're developing. NASCAR games. They're not doing anything else. So bigger developers may have a bigger budget and more people, but they also work on multiple games. Uh, these guys are strictly NASCAR guys. I prefer this any day of the week over a larger developer with multiple projects. Also, those of you who are still like, oh, I wish EA would, well, again, this is the best possible scenario because several people that used to be part of EA back when EA was making great games, these are the guys working here at 704. Ed Martin, the guy who was responsible for the Thunder series, 2003, 2004, 2005, he was head of development. He's the CEO of 704. Who better to oversee this? So you're kind of getting, not only are you getting EA in a way, you're getting the EA that was good in a sense, right? It's not the whole crew, but the where it matters. You got Ed Martin at the top. Sean Wilson also worked at EA. So these guys were there when they actually made good games. EA's a complete disaster right now. So this is the best possible scenario. So I hope you guys can really understand that at this point. This is why the game is progressing the way it is. So I'm really digging everything I see. Another thing that I was concerned about, and I'm really starting to see that they made the right decision. When they first talked about the physics of the the contact physics and stuff, messing around with the handling where you make contact with other cars, a lot of people, including myself, was a bit concerned. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Is this just gonna mean that they're just gonna make it more arcadey? But from the looks of it, and in this latest video, every time these cars have made contact, it hasn't. I keep expecting it to go out of control, just like NASCAR Heat 2. I keep saying, oh my God, This guy's gonna ping pong all over the place and then just spin out of control. That's not happening. So whatever they did is working. I like what I see. I'm actually encouraged by it. So these guys know what they're doing, right? That doesn't mean everything they do is gonna be a hit. You know, they're gonna miss on a few things, but for the most part, everything they've claimed that they worked on is better. The only thing we don't know about yet is the pit strategy, right? We don't know about the tire wear, but everything else looks good. Another thing I noticed, like I said, it's only 6 laps. The AI did start spreading out pretty quickly. Um, they could spread out a bit more, but this is a very condensed view. We don't know what we're getting, and track by track, it's different. Also, they ran different lines. I was really keeping an eye out for that. Yeah, it's just 6 laps, but they were run. There were cars up high and low. Now, some people will say, well, the cars weren't all the way at the top. This is California. This track, nobody runs all the way at the top. There's no grip there. Most tracks in NASCAR are only a couple of grooves. So you might see a track this wide. Only this much is usable at most tracks. So at this track, they ran realistically pretty much what you see when they run at California. They were at the bottom, they were in the middle, and then slightly above that. But then there's a whole chunk of the top track that nobody uses because there's no grip there. And that's realistic at this track. So the cars did spread out a bit and they did run multiple lines. Again, if we would have seen maybe a longer race, I would have loved to see how that played out. But I was looking at that stuff. I liked everything I saw for the most part. The one thing I would say that concerns me, and I could already see it's going to be a slight disappointment, is the presentation. Now, I like all the presentation I've seen as far as the, you know, when you initially get to the track and they show a few, a lot of animated stuff, people walking around and, 3D characters and all that stuff. I love that. That is sorely needed. And they need to keep pushing more and more of that, right? But this thing they call stories, one, it goes by too quickly, and two, it's text. I don't like that. You got to read everything quick. It just everything goes by so quickly. I'm not a fan of that. That's number one. So they could kind of slow it down, and Jeff Favignano mentioned that when he was at 704, which I'm glad he did. But I really do want to see commentary. That's what's really missing in this game. To mix that commentary with the career mode. Another thing I noticed that, yeah, you see all these notes for these other cars, but I haven't seen anything for you. Maybe in the career mode they actually talk about you, in even though it's text. I don't know, but I doubt it because we haven't seen that. I think that it's a little uh, detaching, from the experience, because that's what makes it cool when they actually talk about you. This is what other sports titles do very well. This is what 2004 did excellently, right? So I already know this game isn't going to beat 2004 in terms of presentation and stats. We know that going in. It's really the rest of the game that I'm going to be looking at. But so yeah, there's room for improvement. But even saying that about the presentation, this is still a huge improvement over what we've had. So we have to keep pushing them, keep pushing them. The sound is improved, but it still needs work. Another big improvement. So that's what I really want. I want to see that pre-race audio commentary. Maybe get Jess Burton and Junior. Even Waltrip. I know a lot of people don't like Waltrip, but mix it up a bit. I don't care, but have this pre-race, but gentlemen, start your engines. Even the end of the Star Spangled Banner, just like 2004 did it, but do it even deeper and better. When you go through the field, also talk about you, the player, right? And have it in audio, right? So you're actually in immersed in it and you're hearing the commentary. That's what's kind of really missing from the presentation, and we need to see more of that stuff. But that's really it. It's not a lot to complain about. Um, and I am so excited about the AI, how tough they are. Uh, that's what I want. And the guy's fighting for 2 or 3 spots. Yes, it was just 6 laps, but he started 21st and he finished 17th, and it really looked like he was fighting hard. I mean, that is the most excited. I haven't been this excited in years for a NASCAR game. So it's going to be tough, and it looks like you really are going to have to pay more attention to the setups of these cars, which is another positive. The only thing is, people like myself who don't know a lot about setups, doesn't look like something. I know a lot of people, and I know you mean well about, oh, go learn setups. It's not that hard. I don't want to learn. I don't. It's tedious stuff that, to me, you want to maintain this where it's a game, right? You're here to have fun. When you have to go do things that feel like a chore, that is where you kind of lose that, right? So there's a fine line there. It's good that you could work on your own setups, but there's nothing that even guides you on how to do that. This is why I've brought up things like, have an automatic crew chief, the type of thing we see in Project Cars 2 with the engineer, where they help you with your setup, right? And that would make the game more immersive, and that would actually make me want to spend time in practice. And this is things I've talked about before. So I'm gonna keep pushing these ideas, and hopefully 704 keeps listening and keeps, you know, listening to us and trying to push forward. So I'm not giving up on anything, uh, but there's a lot to be excited about, and I can't wait to play this game. I wish 704 would send me an early copy. I'd pay for it, no problem. But man, I'd love to have my hands on a copy of the game a week early. Just get some playing time in it, and then I could do an earlier review. It does look like they have a product that they could be confident in. So I don't know. I'm not a big enough YouTuber. Obviously, they're not going to send me a copy, but man, it would be cool. It would just really be awesome. So I mean, we're only like just about 10 days away, you could say. So I look forward to the game, man. I hope you guys are excited as I am. That AI really looks tough, and I'm excited, man. It just really looks good overall. And I wanted to thank you guys. All of you guys that have always, sent me information or taken, when I've requested, hey, could somebody please send this to 704 or ask them about this. You guys have always come through. I really appreciate that. You guys know that I don't do this for money. I don't monetize. I've never asked for subscribers or anything like that. My only motivation is to try to get better games. And it's happening. It's working. And I really feel good about that. And I think that we all have a part in that. So this game is shaping up to be something that the community helped build. 704 gets the credit, but they listen to us. So stop and smell the roses. I look at things as glass half full right now, and I don't remember the last time I could do that. I've been doing these videos since 2012, and it's been just a lot of complaining and negativity, and rightfully so. But finally, we're seeing the fruits of our labor, and I hope that you guys continue to help out whenever I ask. And I want to thank all the other YouTubers who've ever chimed in the comment section and helped out. Um, it's awesome. I like what's happening, and I think people should realize that this is really the best scenario for everything. This is the right company, um, and hopefully maybe they can talk to NASCAR and get them to loosen up a bit with all this licensing stuff. it's really hurting a lot of the things they want to do. And NASCAR needs to understand, you're only hurting a product that helps promote your sport. Who cares? Who cares if somebody wants to use a specific number? It's a fucking game. So don't put all these restrictions. What do you care what people are doing with these games? I get it. I know that sponsors are very finicky, but come on, man. You gotta loosen up a bit, because at the end of the day, the better this game does, the better it is to market NASCAR as a sport. And maybe 704 needs to have a sit down with these guys and say, hey, man, you got our hands tied behind our back. We're trying to give people what they want. They want more numbers. They want to be able to do certain things. And this licensing for everything is just really choking the progress. But in spite of that, that only makes it more impressive to see what 704 has been able to do with so many restrictions thrown their way. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm just really excited. I love this latest clip. I'm seeing the things I want to see. Everything is an improvement. I haven't seen anything that is exactly the same as last year. Everything has at least a minimal amount of improvement. And together, there's not one thing that's going to blow you away, right? But the combination of all these improvements, it's a, such a huge improvement it, that you can see. Once you play the game, who knows? Maybe it turns out this is all a disaster of some kind, or that's 704 has cleverly hidden, but their marketing sucks. So they're not the type of company that can, like, you know scheme behind the scenes and, like, oh, we're gonna make this game look way better than it really is. We're gonna trick everyone. I don't see that happening. They don't. They kind of clumsy when it comes to marketing. I think what you see is what you get, and that's a good thing right now. So that's all I want to say. What do you guys think? I look forward to your comments.